G'day, Mark Pesce here, author of the just published Getting Started with ChatGPT and AI Chatbots. Very big news on publication day of my book. But let's take a look at some history. Now, back in August, some Australian academics got roasted in the press because they had tabled a report to Parliament about self-dealing in the big four consultancies and had specifically researched KPMG, one of the big four consultancies, about issues around self-dealing, so cutting themselves in on deals. And they went and they asked Google's chatbot Bard for some examples of that. Bard promptly provided them, and those results were included into the parliamentary inquiry. Now, here's the problem. Bard had generated those results by confabulation. In other words, they weren't based on the truth. Bard simply made up the results. And KPMG took great issue with this, and it also means that these academics are now guilty of basically submitting false information to Parliament. Now, I don't think they're going to be charged with a crime, but it is a very bad look. But of course, that goes to the basic nature of AI chatbots. And one of the things that we've learned is that they're not exactly reliable in every situation. A survey that was conducted in August took a look at the big four chatbots. So that's Anthropic's Claude, that's ChatGPT Plus from OpenAI, that's Microsoft's Copilot, and then Google's Bard, which uses Palm 2. And in each of these, it took a look at the relative rate of confabulations, and it found that it could be as low as 2% for Claude, but it could be as high as 27% for Bard. In other words, Bard was the most prone to making things up, which means it's really the least reliable of all of the chatbots to be using if you need things that are factually credible. Well, big news overnight is that Google has just announced what they call Gemini. This is their next generation chatbot language model. It's based on the latest research out of Google's DeepMind AI project. Now, the history here is that all of this technology was originally invented in Google's labs in 2017, and Google basically just let it go. Just published some papers and then didn't really follow it up. This is now their big attempt to get in front of things. And according to the research results that they've published along with introducing Gemini, what they've actually said is that it will equal or beat GPT-4, which is powering ChatGPT Plus, so the gold standard AI chatbot. It will equal or beat them in 30 out of 32 basic benchmarks that people are using. Now, there's always going to be a lot of quibbling about a benchmark that may be off by 0.1%, but these are still very strong results, and you have to imagine that people will be putting these results to the test. But already, as soon as they announced it, they rolled it into Bard, so that if you have a Bard account, as I do, as almost anyone who has a Google account, except in the UK and in the EU, because there's pending legislation there, you can just go to bard.google.com, bring it up, and you will be using the Gemini model. Now, the Gemini model actually comes in 3 different flavors, but even so, this is the middle range flavor, is still substantially better, according to Google, than the previous Palm model. So what they're doing is they're getting the technology out into users' hands basically as soon as it becomes available. Now, the big thing here is that Gemini has been designed to come in 3 flavors. There's the Ultra model that has not been introduced yet. That's probably the one that is equal to or greater than GPT-4 in power. There's the Pro model, and I don't know where this sits relative to GPT-4, but this is the one that is now being rolled out in Bard worldwide. So this is the one that's available. But they also announced the availability of what they called Ultra, and Ultra is what I would call a local large language model. It is small enough to be able to run on a smartphone, and in fact, in December, so this month, Google will be releasing a software update for its top-of-the-line Pixel 8 Pro smartphone that will bring Gemini Nano to the device as an inbuilt onboard chatbot. This is a big thing. We could see this was going to be coming earlier this year as we got closer and closer with Llama and the other models that have come out from Meta and from Mistral and other places. But this is the first time that a major smartphone maker, and remember, most smartphones in the world are Android devices, is now fully integrating an AI chatbot into the device, which means you need to understand how to talk to an AI chatbot in order to talk to your smartphones.